Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. And today I'm going to talk about what is the finish line for the narcissist. When do you think the narcissist actually hits the finish line? Well, a lot of people might say marriage is the finish line for a narcissist. But guess what? That isn't the finish line for a narcissist, because nothing is the finish line for a narcissist. A narcissist could be married, but a narcissist doesn't look at marriage the way other people look at marriage, as a complete commitment to somebody, and that's the end of their games. A narcissist will play games in their single life and also in their marriage life, and even up to the day they die. There is never a finish line for a narcissist, because whatever the narcissist does in their single life, they will do also in their marriage life. They like to get married because they like the benefits of marriage. They like, having somebody cook for them, clean for them, add money to the household. They could live maybe in a better living situation. Maybe they can get a house with somebody if they're married. They can pool money together. They can have somebody raise their kids. They could have an appearance of, putting on an image that they're married. There's nothing wrong with them. A lot of narcissists get married because they're worried about their image to their families, to other people. They want to appear like they're like everybody else. The narcissist wants it all, okay? But the narcissist also wants to do whatever the narcissist wants to do. So regardless of whether they're married or not, the narcissist is going to have a whole other life that their partner doesn't know about. They're going to have a secret life. And a lot of people don't find out about this till later on in life. They find out that the narcissist may have an affair somewhere. They have a situation somewhere. And a lot of narcissists leave marriages and they find somebody else. A lot of narcissists will leave a long-term marriage and leave somebody for a younger supply. So no, marriage is not the finish line for a narcissist. They don't generally like to get divorced, okay? But in some circumstances, they have no choice but to get divorced. They may have another supply, maybe a younger supply, and in order to keep that other supply, they have to get divorced, all right? And also, sometimes a narcissist gets tired of the family life, the marriage life, the kids, the everyday responsibilities. A narcissist would rather get divorced and start up a whole new life and leave the responsibilities of the children to their partner and be free and single, okay? And a lot of narcissists do this. So no, marriage is not the finish line for the narcissist, because narcissists don't have morals and values. They don't look at marriage as, a covenant of God whereby, till death do us part. Narcissists do not look at marriage as till death do us part. Narcissists look at marriage as, I'm with you till something better comes along. So they're not serious in their vows when they get married, okay? And that's where it is not true that marriage is the finish line for a narcissist, because plenty of narcissists get divorced, and you see them all in family court, okay? Tons of narcissists in family court, and they've either discarded their partner because they have another supply, or their partner discarded them because they saw that the narcissist was doing shady things, all right? Maybe cheating on them, lying to them, abusing them. So absolutely, marriage is not the finish line for the narcissist, okay? Narcissists will continue on and on and on. As a matter of fact, I was coaching a woman who was in her 50s, who met somebody at a religious organization, and he was a divorced man. And what he did is, she was in a relationship with him, and he totally discarded her and he went with somebody else, and he was, going with all the different women in this religious organization. All right. He was a real predator. That's why you got to watch a lot of these places that you meet people. Don't think just because you're in a church, you're in a synagogue, you're in a mosque, that you're meeting somebody who's a person of God, because you have a lot of predators in these places preying upon vulnerable men and women and trying to get them, for whatever supply it is. And he kept, he went with all the women in, the synagogue that she was in. All right. And she said to me, when will he ever grow up? And I said to her, never. He will be like this to the day he dies. He was in his 60s. He was still out playing game, all right? And this is how he will be till he can't get supply anymore, till he gets sick and he can't get supply anymore, all right? So there is no finish line for the narcissist. And I will tell you why also there is no finish line for a narcissist. Because narcissists are never happy, never satisfied, and never content. So a narcissist will always be looking for the next best thing. They're empty vessels. They feel emptiness within themselves. They don't appreciate who and what they have. They always think the grass is greener somewhere else. So guess what? Marriage is not the finish line for the narcissist, all right? Because they're still going to keep doing what they're doing. But what they do with marriage is they trap people. They think that they're trapping people. They may get somebody pregnant. They may marry them quickly because they're after something that person has. That person may be a younger supply. That person may have money, and they want to lock it down. In their minds, they think they're locking it down. But the reality is, because the narcissist is still playing their games, what's in the dark always comes into the light, and marriage is not the finish line for the narcissist, because eventually they're exposed and the truth comes out and people start to see that they aren't committed to them, and the marriage breaks down, okay? The marriage breaks down. So don't think just because narcissists get married, they're going to be married the rest of their life, because all you got to do is go to family court or Supreme Court, and you'll see that plenty of narcissists are getting divorced, okay? Like I said, they don't want to get divorced, but sometimes they have no choice. They have no choice, because they either have a new supply that's putting pressure on them to marry them or to be with them, and they can't swing the double life anymore. They've got to make a choice, and that's when they discard whoever they're with, or the person they're married to, has had enough of the games and the lies and the cheating and the bullshit. So marriage is definitely not the finish line for the narcissist, okay? Just so you know, narcissists will continue and do exactly the same patterns over and over and over again. They go in a circle. Narcissists go in a circle. And a married narcissist has a mindset of being single, all right? That's why a lot of them will say, nobody tells me what to do. A person who takes a relationship seriously and realizes I'm in a committed relationship with somebody, understands that there's certain boundaries you don't cross. But a narcissist is not bound by boundaries. They will just do what they have to do. If they get caught, they'll gaslight their partner, maybe even lie and say, I will never happen again. That could be if they admit and they're really caught and the person's going to divorce them. They may concede to that because they're just lying to try to hold on to their partner, because they don't want to end up getting a divorce and splitting their assets and dividing things and dealing with every other weekend with their kids, all right? But eventually it does blow up, all right? Because it's like a vase. When a vase breaks and you glue back a vase, it's never the same vase. And this is what happens when people marry narcissists. Eventually, it's going to break. It may not break in the beginning, but later on, because of the patterns of the narcissist being toxic, the other person is going to have had enough. and they're going to either walk out, or the narcissist can't take the heat anymore, and the narcissist is going to walk out, and we'll have another supply, okay? Also, keep in mind too, when narcissists get married, generally they're still talking to somebody else. So remember what I'm telling you. They don't take the covenant of marriage as a serious covenant of God, all right? Narcissists are not of God. And the way, regardless of what they tell you, they may say they go to church every week, or their religious organization they're involved in, but it's all a front. And the way that you know that is because they don't live by God's laws, all right? They lie, they cheat, they steal, they're promiscuous. So the bottom line is, marriage is not a serious institution to a narcissist. So it is not the finish line for the narcissist, because the narcissist will continue to do what they've been doing their whole life, all right? They never grow up, so to speak, all right? You're dealing with somebody who is emotionally immature. You're dealing with somebody who plays mind games. You're dealing with somebody who has toddler tantrums. You're not dealing with a serious-minded person that means what they say. And you will know this after dealing with the narcissist, that they were not a serious-minded person, or they deceived you with their intent. Their intent was never the intent that you had. Understand that, okay? Narcissists may go into marriage and they may seem like they're all in, but they're not, all right? They're not, because they don't want to work at anything. Marriage takes work. It takes commitment. It takes sacrifice. And this is something that narcissists don't want to do. And why do some marriages last with a narcissist? Because their partner either doesn't see them for what they are. The partner could be trauma bonded to the narcissist and can't let go, or doesn't want to be alone. And the narcissist is continually gaslighting their partners, or their partner may think that the narcissist is going to change, till eventually they realize later on, hey, this person is not going to change. And that's the truth. The narcissist is not going to change, because the narcissist doesn't repent. They don't think there's anything wrong with how they live. And if you don't like it, there's the door. They're not going to change themselves. They may try to save their marriages by going to therapy, because they're prodded to go to therapy, because they don't want to lose what they have in the marriage. And a lot of times it's because they don't want to pay child support. They don't want to divide their assets. And they don't want to have to do visitation every other week. It's much easier just to have somebody else do everything, pretend to be married, and go out and live your secret life, right? They have their cake and eat it too. So marriage is not the finish line. But one thing about marriage is that generally when narcissists do marry their partners, their mask starts to drop. When the narcissist thinks that they've got you, you will see that the narcissist will start to devalue you, be wicked, be cruel, be nasty. But that's not the finish line, okay? That's not the finish line, because the minute that you start to walk away or distance yourself from the narcissist, they're going to try to draw you back in with the love bombing. So it's a cycle, it's patterns of toxic behavior, and it never ends with the narcissist, because the narcissist never concedes. Understand this. They don't concede, they don't submit to you. So the finish line is not, marriage is not the finish line for the narcissist, because the narcissist is not conceding and being married and saying, I'm here, till death do us part. Narcissists, they don't want to get divorced, but a lot of times they do get divorced, okay? For the reasons that I've outlined in this podcast. So keep in mind, don't be misled in thinking that, oh, because you marry a narcissist, that's the finish line. They're not going to play their games. They're going to, this is it for them. It's never it for them. It is never it for the narcissist. And yes, like I said before, they don't want to get divorced, but they do end up getting divorced. A lot of them do, all right? And you do have narcissists that do stay married, but if they are staying married, you can guarantee that their partner is putting up with shit, okay? People that are married to narcissists where the marriage lasts, their partner is putting up with shit. And that's a fact. I have seen it with a lot of people, all right, that I know personally, and that is the truth. If somebody lasts with a narcissist and stays married, they're putting up with a lot of abuse. That is a fact, all right? But generally, when the narcissist pushes the goalpost and keeps going and realizes, they're going to keep doing their toxic behavior by lying, cheating, manipulating, and everything else, everybody has their boiling points. And most people will get fed up and say, I've had enough. And that's when you see them in divorce court. And believe me, if you've been in the courts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The courts are loaded with narcissists. So no, marriage is not the finish line for the narcissist, okay? So I hope that helps you guys. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for confidential phone coaching, check out the link in the bio. I have limited time. I'm just got so much going on. I barely have time to coach. So you have to book ahead. Also, check out my YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast on YouTube. About 7,000 videos on there to help you understand narcissism, okay? Go to the Game Exposed podcast, do a search in the box on the right for whatever you're looking for: covert narcissist, malignant narcissist, narcissistic mother, triangulation, gaslighting. It's all on my YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast, okay? TikTok is the Game Exposed, Facebook is the Game EXP123, and Instagram is the Game EXP123. And have a great day, you guys.